Give me a child detective cracking codes, finding clues, and solving mysteries all before bedtime. And this middle grade mystery thriller will have you following a new world renowned private eye. Are you ready?
Yeah, 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 yeah. The Books and Vogue podcast. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come get your favorite next book. Yeah, 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 yeah. The Books and Vogue podcast. Yeah, yeah. With Captain Brad.
Welcome, book lovers, to the Books on Vogue podcast. This is your premier listening experience, all about immersive reading and helping avid and reluctant readers alike imagine book characters like never before. I'm your host, Kat Trinidad. The format of the show is I introduce a book, share tips on how you can engage your senses as you read this title, because it's one thing to be a mood reader, but you get a little something extra from the story when you are set the mood reader. And finally, I will end the show with a reimagining of my favorite scene. Today, we will discuss techniques for getting into Opal Watson, Private Eye, with none other than the author, Brittany J. Thurman. Welcome, Brittany.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So happy to have you. So please tell us about the book.
Yes, as a kid, so as a writer, I always think about books that I would have wanted to read as a kid. And I was always the child that asked a billion questions. I would get on my grandmother's nerves from asking so many questions. I was always wondering about the world, and I had the opportunity to adapt Opal Watson Private Eye, which is originally a podcast, into novel format. So Opal Watson is a 12-year-old detective who lives in my favorite city, Chicago, Illinois. And she is an ordinary kid who goes about her day, who has her worries, just like most kids do, the obstacles she's trying to overcome. But one passion, one love that she has is detective work. She is a fan of Sherlock Holmes. She is a fan of the Pinkertons. And she has kind of crafted this detective um, job that she does, because it is a job for her. Even though she's 12, she's working as a detective, and she solves cases big and small, anything from finding a finding why a food project was bitten into at school, to solving a huge family mystery, which encompasses book one and book two of Opal Watson Private Eye. Opal also lives with a degenerative eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa, where she has difficulty seeing out of the periphery of her vision. So she doesn't know what her eyesight might look like in the future. But Opal is also a child that lets nothing get in her way. And her motto is, there is nothing that I cannot do. And I wish that I would have had that motto as a kid, because I let too many things stop me in my tracks. And I was afraid of a lot. So Opal kind of reminds myself to keep pushing forward, that it's okay that we have these obstacles, these challenges, but it's our duty to solve them and to see what is on the other side of that challenge. Opal has a loving family, which reminds me of my own. She has a very connected relationship to her grandmother, which is like my relationship with my grandmother. And all of these things drew me to writing this adaptation, which is actually a brand new story. So it's not what you will listen to in the podcast. This is something completely new.
Thank you so much for that. Do you care to join me in a discussion of some tips for setting a reading mood?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to.
Well, okay, book lovers, I hope you have your writing utensils ready because class is in session.
Hear it, see it, smell it, sense it, taste it, touch it. Ah. Hear it, see it, smell it, sense it, taste it, touch it. Ah. Hear it, see it, smell it, sense it, taste it, touch it.
The Books and Vogue podcast.
So, Brittany, what's the vibe? How can we engage our spirit as we read this book?
So, first of all, I think setting some mysterious music might help. So anything to the tune of what you might listen to if you're watching a Sherlock Holmes series on television. That music that really kind of creeps up your spine is, I think that, something that will play softly in the background as you're picking up Opal Watson, Private Eye. I also think that it will be good to have in mind family and family history. So, family history is a big theme that runs through this book and book two. So, having that discussion with your family before reading the book, where is your family from? Who are your ancestors? What are the things that your ancestors did? Having those conversations either before or after you read the book, but just keeping in mind that family history is a huge part of Opal's life. It's a huge part of my life, which is why I included it in the story. Um, and also maybe also thinking about, friendships as well. The ups of friendships, the downs of friendships, but the importance of having those solid, concrete friends in your life that you can rely on, whether that is a cousin like Opal, her cousin Frank is her best friend. Or maybe it's your friend at school, but thinking about like friendships and how we keep those friendships intact.
Okay, okay. So I know you hinted on the sound of Opal Watson Private Eye as being mysterious, but I wanted to dive more into the keynotes in music or nature that could set the tone for this novel. So when you say mysterious music, what 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 do you hear as mysterious? Because to me, what comes to mind is those old school saxophones, you know.
So what I hear honestly, and after thinking about it, I think that, you can have that music, the saxophone, the jazz, you can have that because Opal's family also listens to jazz artists. They listen to old school artists. So there's a mention of Nina Simone in the book. But also I think that having a soundtrack, this is going to sound weird, but a city soundtrack. So the noises that you hear in a city, whether that city is Chicago or New York or where I'm from, Louisville, Kentucky. But sometimes if I'm listening to the world around me, to me, those sounds are a mystery. Why is someone honking their horn? Um, why does, for instance, like a plane sound so loud when it's overhead? If people are outside yelling, what is it, what exactly is going on? And that's what's in Opal's world too. Chicago is loud, depending on where you are. Chicago is loud. So, um, tuning into what's around you, not just immediately what's in front of you, but what surrounds you. The noise that is around us is a noise that I think that you should tune into when you're listening or reading Opal.
Okay, okay. So do share the aesthetics. This can be any visuals aside from the book, such as lighting.
Okay, so I have a magnifying glass that I don't use. I use it for school visits or library events. Um, but they come in handy. So I have a magnifying glass is a great visual. Glasses, so not just my regular everyday glasses, but maybe spy glasses or spy goggles. Something, what's really going on today are those meta glasses. So I think that, Opal in the future might have some glasses where she's seeing the world and recording what's around her. Um, but what else? I think a pen, paper, Opal gets down to the basics. She has a notebook. So she's writing down things and she's typing things up in her phone too on the notes of her phone. And this is something that I do that's very simple when it comes to writing, pencil paper. That's it. And it can go miles. Um, yeah, so those are a few things. I think also like a recorder. So excuse me. So either the recorder on your phone is a great tool, or maybe like an old school, like I'm thinking of those like old Home Alone tape recorders. Like I used to have one as a kid, which tells how old I am, but those little like old school, I can't
The little
what's it
handheld,
called?
the handheld voice
Yeah,
recorder. I have one.
you do.
It has a what
You're
it's
right.
one of the updated ones. It has
Hmm.
the USB port, like so you can actually like
Oh, okay.
download the notes to your computer, but it makes me feel like a reporter, so I like to like
Yes.
turn it around.
Yes. Yeah. And I can see Opal having one of those too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. So what's the flavor? Any food or drink
Yes. Oh my
companions for
gosh.
this title?
I think this is my favorite question. Okay. Opal. So Chicago's known for food. So is New Orleans. Opal has her grandmother's from New Orleans. In the podcast, at the end of season 1, she goes to New Orleans, and in the book, at the beginning of the book, she is actually in New Orleans at the airport. So I love New Orleans like with a passion, and I think the flavor of this book it's beignets, it's gumbo, it's jambalaya, it's good southern, it's good soul food from your grandmother. Um, but then also it's Chicago, it's pizza. Like her cousin, I'm sure her cousin eats a lot, and her cousin also likes to cook. But it's pizza, it's hot dogs, it's popcorn. I was very adamant about putting Chicago popcorn in this book. But I couldn't name it like Garrett's popcorn. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I think it's just called G's popcorn. But every time I go to Chicago, I have to have some popcorn, and it doesn't even make it back home with me. So
I had a best friend back in the day. We started off as co-workers and then she was just like the only person I wanted to see and talk to. And she was from Chicago. And
Mhm.
whenever she go home, I'd be like, bring me something back that's distinctly Chicago. You know what she would bring back?
Popcorn.
The cheddar and
Oh my
caramel
God.
popcorn. And so
Yes.
now when I think of Chicago, I think of that popcorn.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
delicious.
It is so good. I want some right now. And what really aggravates me is like if I'm in Chicago or if I have a layover and that's in Chicago and I can't get it because like I don't have enough room in my bag or something, it's like it's a must when you're in Chicago.
Yeah, definitely adding that to my bucket list now. I have to go and make sure I have an extra luggage for the popcorn.
Exactly.
So what's the aroma? Are there any smells to transport us into the pages?
Well, okay. So there's a big secret in the book that's also in her apartment building. So honestly, this may sound weird, but the smell might be like an old room that hasn't been opened for a while. So maybe a little dusty. That might be a smell that you might come across when you're reading the book. Um, but also there's like the smell, the scent of food. So those beignets, that jambalaya. There's the smell of a garden, so flowers, fresh flowers in the summertime. Opal has a garden. They have a community garden, and her dad, her mom, and Opal, they're tending to at the beginning of the book. Um, so yeah, there's those scents as well. And Opal is also big on like giving to others. So she's picking the flowers, she's collecting them for the residents of the building to pick up. So like the lobby is also full of that scent of that floral scent.
Yeah, yeah. So how can we give more of the feels? How can we engage our sense of touch as we read about
Yes.
Opal's world?
Yeah, if you have a pet, I think cuddling your pet, holding your pet close. Opal has a cat um, that she adores, and so just that fluffy softness um, of that family animal, um, and just how that softness kind of helps to ease you and ease those tensions too. I think that that is definitely a touch. Opal, because she does have retinitis pigmentosa, she is relying on sometimes touch. She's using her cane, which is called Pinkerton, to listen to the sounds that her cane may hit. And so that's another sound that you might encounter within Opal, but then also there is that touch of, okay, she's holding her cane, and then also like what is that object that the cane is touching? How does that object feel against the cane? And then what does Opal do to navigate around that object that might be in her path? The building is being renovated throughout the story. So just thinking of when I was writing Opal, my house was being renovated. And so thinking of the things that were just around, like the plaster from the walls, leftover materials that needed to be put in place or just that were have been discarded. Those things. There's also like the touch of or the feel of like metal, because there is scaffolding that is in front of her building, which you might see a lot in Chicago or New York. So that touch of cold metal, and then also just like the unknown. How long will this be here? How long will, Opal have to deal with her building looking like this and dealing with these things that she's trying to navigate?
Okay, okay. I love that, and I just wanted to add a caveat, um, about figurative touch, right? Because for me, when I read middle grade stories, there's something healing, right, about reading um, these stories of young people who look like me, right? These books that weren't around when I was an actual child doing heroic things that sort of healing to my inner child to like live
Mhm.
vicariously through that as I'm reading, like picturing myself doing those heroic
Yeah,
things. So yes, 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 yes.
I
So
love that. And it's healing for me too, because like I was saying at the beginning, as a child, I was afraid of everything. And so I think that in a way, writing kind of heals my inner child. Even though I'm not able to go back to childhood, I am able to push forward in things that I never thought I would have been able to do. Like through being an author, as a child, I was very quiet, I was very reserved. I was sometimes like apprehensive to talk to people, and now I can speak to um, a whole school full of kids. And so, like in many ways, writing has healed me. And I'm always grateful to hear how my books might like help others, or like just like how someone takes my book and utilizes it in their world is it means everything to me.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for writing this story, and I just want to encourage readers of all ages to pick this book up, regardless of how old you are, because, like I said, even if you're past the age of the characters in the story, there's still some healing there for your inner child. So, there you go, book lovers. These are your recommended supplies as you read this title. If you're able, pause and get some of these if available, or simply imagine because it's time for my favorite scene. Disclaimer. Please note that exact words, names, locations, and/or scenarios mentioned in this reimagined reenactment may differ from the actual book. Sharing my favorite scenes, I reenacted though, imagining the fiction world that I've been reading of. Going from all the things, I just gave you a list. Come experience all the senses as protagonists. And it don't get more real than this. Immersive read with books on book and live vicariously. Detective rule number 1. Around every corner is a case. Starring Brittany J. Thurman as the narrator in Opal, and Kat Trinidad as grandmother, aka Mimi, the TSA agent, and Madison via text. All right now, Opal Watson. I want to keep you in New Orleans forever, but you missed this flight and your parents won't ever forgive me.
My grandmother's words are interrupted by the ding of an incoming text. Mimi Augustine's Louisiana accent blends with the Louis Armstrong International Airport commotion. It's a mix of luggage wheels, rushing feet, crying babies, and endless chatter. The noise is a thick stew, like the seafood gumbo I'm still stuffed with from Mimi's lunch. I glance at my phone and read the text from my friend, Madison.
Opal, there are noises coming from my bathroom wall.
Noises? What kind of noises? I write back as Mimi clears her throat. That's my cue that inquiring about what Madison means will have to wait. I pocket my phone, tuck a braid that smells fresh from the peppermint shampoo I washed it with last night behind my ear, and breathe. I inhale my grandmother's presence and tune out the airport. After today, I'll only see her face through my smartphone. Since May until now, the last Friday in July, I have spent day and night shuttling between summer camp and the cool breeze that crept through Mimi Augustine's house. Sipping sweet lavender tea on her front porch rocking chair and listening to the sound of trombones drift through her neighborhood, Treme. But I am ready to go home to Chicago, catch up with my cousin, Frank, my cat, BB, and even my parents. Leaving Mimi already feels like I'm keeping part of myself in Louisiana.
Opal, a gay agent agreed to meet you after security.
Mimi worriedly looks at the line of people and then to the conveyor belt and scanners beyond them. Okay, but unfortunately I can't get on the plane if you don't let go. I slowly tear away from her hug. That's the 5th one she's given me since we got here. I'll be fine, I promise. This isn't the first time I've caught the flight, but Mimi, you're squishing Pinkerton. I grip my collapsible cane tighter. It's named after the infamous and historic detective agency. The 4 folded sections remind me of portions of an accordion before it's stretched to be played. There's a squishy tip that goes on the ground. Then comes the part that's coded in red, an indicator for obstacles and people in my path. The rest of the cane is white with a black rubber handle. I slip my hand through the wrist loop as Mimi steps aside. Cane up, I say, holding Pinkerton in the air. I let go and all the sections collapse, then link together. Pinkerton taps against the airport floor, adding to the noise. Straight ahead, the security line swells with people like candy sticks poured into a jar. I hear the passers-by zigzag between the swivel of stanchions as my grandmother fiddles with the bracelets on her wrist, the wooden bangles clanking.
I know you will, Opal,
She says as I look up. The large digital clock on the wall ticks to another minute. I have less than 30 to catch my flight. Mimi, they'll shut the plane doors if I don't leave now, I tell her, wrapping my grandmother in another hug. I step away and move into the growing line, wishing I could keep the kiss she planted on my forehead forever. I inch forward and Pinkerton does too, smushed in with the crowd.
I'm only a 2.5-hour flight away, Opal.
Mimi calls. She stands on her tiptoes to get a better glimpse of me.
You call me day, noon, or night and tell that cousin of yours, Frank Goody, to check in on his grandmother sometime.
I spot the top of her head, curls cofted by the black and gold scarf she wears at night. I will, Mimi, although we both know Frank makes up his own mind.
Opal Watson, don't forget, there's nothing you cannot do.
As the line moves, I pause and look behind me. I expect to see Mimi Augustine waving like she was a couple of seconds ago, except the line has gotten as thick as the scattered clouds filling the evening sky. That fast, I don't see my grandmother at all. My heart flutters and panic comes over me until my mind rolls with her words. There is nothing you cannot do. I know. For 3 years, I have helped friends, family, and strangers uncover answers to their problems and solutions to their questions. Like when a class project was mysteriously devoured in 6th grade, I pinpointed it was chomped on by a small furry pet. But Mimi Augustine's family heirloom cookbook went missing. I determined it was our odd neighbor who took it. And most recently, as a strange smell spread over the woods at summer camp, I went on a search to find its origins. I shuffle up the line, gradually getting closer to the uniformed security agent who scans identification cards and tickets. There are still half a dozen people in front of me.
Next!
He shouts. The clock moves again, cutting down on the time for me to make my flight. In front of me, a teenager pulls off his muddy sneakers. How did they get so dirty? A dad leans into a stroller, tickling the kid tucked inside. Why does no one laugh back? A woman flicks her paper ticket. What's her rush? I am a detective, also known as a private eye. Every person here has a story, and there is no mystery I cannot solve. Each one I encounter gives me the chance to help, letting someone else's life become that much easier. But as I leave my grandmother to join the rest of my family in Chicago, I wish I understood why. Why am I the only detective in the Watson family when it feels as if there should be a whole fleet of mystery solvers behind me? Finally, the security agent directs his words at me.
Are you ready?
It's my turn to step forward and show him my ticket. I move with Pinkerton, carefully twisting around the corner. As I do, my phone dings again. The sound turns into a buzz, letting me know I have another message waiting to be read. Quickly, I hand the agent my ticket and peek.
All I know is it's not normal. You believe me, right?
Madison's messages spread across my screen. Ka-chick. The phone clicks as I take another screenshot. I move the text to my detective notebook, also known as the notes folder of my phone, and step forward with Pinkerton. The cane sweeps side to side like a pendulum. I don't know what Madison is hearing in our apartment building back home, but as the agent returns my ticket, I know it's my job to figure it out.
Book lovers, if you have enjoyed the sneak peek, you can get more by reading the whole book. Opal Watson, Private Eye by Brittany J. Thurman is available at your local library and everywhere books are sold. And if it's not, request it, because you deserve to read all the books that interest you. And if you have already read Opal Watson, Private Eye, or in the middle of reading it, let me know in the comments what you'd like to do to set the mood for reading, because I would love to hear from you, so please leave your feedback. Did you know you can support the show by downloading and becoming a member of the Alive Podcast Network app? You'll experience unlimited access to Black hosted content, and we'll be able to keep bringing you amazing content week after week. So I encourage you to check it out. And if you want to ask, tell them Cat Trinidad I sent you. Brittany, is there anything else you would like to share with the listeners?
Honestly, just thank you. I just want to say thank you to the listeners and thank you to the readers. Just thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And thank you, book lovers, for listening. With peace, much love, and joy. Happy reading.
The Books and Vogue Podcast. Come get your favorite next book. The Books and Vogue Podcast. With Catherine Brad. Subscribe, listen, check out recommendations, and happy reading.